Alright everybody, welcome back. So we're going to do a little Let's Retrobrite today. We're going to be doing my NES. Well, not my NES. I just recently acquired it from a basement where it's been for probably since the 90s. As you can see, this thing is disgusting. There's also a ping pong style game with it that attaches to the TV that just has a couple little games onto it. Both right next to each other, so I assume this thing is massively old. It smells old, it feels old, so I wanted to take the chance to try a new technique in Retrobrite. I figured with this thing, it probably doesn't work, or it may be working, but no loss if it does because I got it for free. So I figured, best chance to try my new Retrobrite. Basically, I saw this technique on the 8-Bit Guy where he used lights, and up here in New England, yeah, we can't use the sun, so that light technique I found really intriguing. So I figured I'd look on Amazon and try to find some lights similar to one he has. It's not the same brand, but they're 30 watts, two of them I got for $20 total because they were warehouse items that were used. I figured for that price, worth the try. If they didn't work right off the bat, I could always return them to Amazon. They turned on, they work. So I figured let's test it out. So after I get this thing actually, cleaned somewhat and in touchable fashion, we'll take this thing apart and we'll actually give it a little Retrobrite. Now I'm using the UV lights and sodium bicarbonate, which is basically a powdered form of hydrogen peroxide. So I'm trying something a little bit different because that's what I use in my house, mostly because I can use it for my dishwasher, not my dishwasher, for my laundry. It's basically the main ingredient of OxyClean, but in the pure form, and it's cheaper than the salon stuff that the 8-Bit Guy uses. So I figured, why not try it? So as you can see right here, this is the yellow, really bad yellow on the side. Probably the worst side easily of it. The front is a little yellow, not too bad. So I figured I have a nice dark yellow and lighter yellows to kind of compare the difference if it actually works. So let's take this thing apart. The one thing I like about the NES, it's literally 12 screws, and only 2 of them are different than all the rest. So as long as you remember where the 2 long ones go, this thing is easy to take apart. So if you've never taken apart an NES before, or a console at all, try the NES. It's pretty simple. You really can't go wrong. Even if you lose the screws, it's not much moving parts, so put as many as you can back in. Alright, so take this thing apart, and we're getting ready to put it in. So this is my little tub thing. Unfortunately, the first plastic bin had a hole in it. So my first 2 hours of retrobriting kind of lost a lot of water. So I think that affected the way the solution worked. So I kind of had to do a 5-hour thing. So I use about 6 tablespoons in all for 5 hours of retrobriting. I think next time I'll use 5 right away because I found a new bucket. So that might increase the reaction that I got. So once I put it in, you can actually see the water starts to really get misty or hazy. You know it's in there. Now, I'm still experimenting, so I'm not sure the right ratio, but I'm going to go with 5 next time right off the bat and see how that works so I can do a shorter time. But any time is better than anything because in New England, the sun isn't really the best, especially in the middle of February. And I don't want to be cold and the water freezing while it's out there. So in my bathtub is fine. A couple hours longer than anything else is okay with me. So here it is with the lights on. My little setup, just 2 lights right above it. As you can see, the 2 consoles are really close together, and I didn't realize that the darkest sides were closest. And I think that's what made me have to run longer, because after the first little section, everything looked good, just the dark side. So as you can see here, it looks way better. That's the dark, worst side that we had. And you can kind of still see it's a little yellow right here, but it still looks good. The colors are close to what you think an NES would be, and the front and top is almost spot on. If I didn't tell you before that this thing was dirty, you probably would think it's not brand new, but wasn't discolored like it was. I'm 99% happy. I wish it was not a little tan on the side, but you're never going to see that. That's barely noticeable. Everything else is perfect. And Now that I know, maybe go 5 or 6 tablespoons the first time without a bucket with a hole in it, I think it'll be a lot shorter than the 5 hours that it took me. And I would imagine for the next time, it'd be better to rotate the pieces every half an hour for the 2 hours that I want to try to go for. And that should allow for an even coat, or at least know which ones are not getting as much light, because it's kind of a small bin. I might have to look for a bigger one for other consoles, but look at this thing. It's spotless. It's nice. I'm happy with it. Now I don't have to be out in the sun, and that's a big difference. Let's take a look at the side-by-side comparison so you can see what it looked like before and after. It does feel so smooth now and clean that I'm going to do that to all my consoles. So even though it didn't come out 100% perfect, it's still pretty close that I want to test out other consoles now and just make everything nice and clean. Alright, so this is the before and after. See the difference? That dark yellow? Same settings, no color differential, same camera, same lighting, and that's the difference. It almost looks like cigarette smoke on walls and stuff if you've ever been to a smoker's house. This is a huge improvement. I'm really glad it turned out well. I'm glad that I saw it on the 8-bit guy, because I don't know if other people are doing the videos, but the light makes a big difference for me. Before, I'd have a couple hours of sunlight, which was never enough. I'm pretty sure I've tried it twice on an Atari 800, and it never came out perfect. Now, hopefully, this is my new setup, and the lights last. They were a different brand. I don't see why they shouldn't. And for $20, if they go, I'll just upgrade to a new one next time. Alright, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, check out my other ones. And let me know if you've Retrobrite before, or if you've done the new UV lighting thing, if you have any techniques or recommendations. Alright, everybody. Have a good night. See you later.